Informed, not inflamed.
It's a technology that can save the world from pollution, lack of water, and a lack of food. It's called Gold Seal Industries, and you need to pay attention to this. Today, we are going to get into the technical side of this fascinating and potentially world-changing technology. Hi, everyone. John Daly here. My guest is the COO of Gold Seal Industries, Evan Kirkendall. Evan, welcome.
Thanks for having me, John.
Well, it's good to have you here. So if I explain this as just a trash to energy technology, we're really just scratching the surface. Go deeper for us.
Yeah, this technology is a wide array of coverages in different feedstocks, as we refer to them as, and that's various things such as tires, plastics, also sewage, and as well as water.
And so how does it go without creating any pollution? What's kind of really happening inside the Gold Seal machines when all this feedstock, whether it's trash or tires, get in there? What's really happening in there?
So what we do is it's all about how you heat the waste and degrade it. We use what is called electromagnetic induction heating. What that is, it's very similar to what some people have in their homes on their cooktop stoves. So what we do is we utilize electricity to vibrate the molecules in steel that then creates heat, and that breaks down the feedstock. What it does is we pull a vacuum as well, so that allows the waste to convert into a gas and not burn. We then pull that gas off, and then we convert it into either fuels or electricity.
Wow. And then and that electricity can then be sold as energy. So you're literally just taking whatever the feedstock is, turning it into electricity, but you're also turning a lot of that waste into reusable products. Talk about that.
Yes. So, for instance, with tires, there are multiple components within a tire. So you have the carbon that is in it, and then you also have the steel and the other recyclable chemicals that we have. So when we run tires through our system, we not only get the gas that comes off, but we also get steel. We also get the chemicals that are in it, that like sulfur and other things like that are added to create a longer lifespan for the tire. So what we end up getting is this powdered chemical back that we then recycle, and we sell back to the tire manufacturers that they reuse. So everything that we produce is a commodity, and that's what really sets us apart for some of the competition.
What's great about it is that it changes the mindset where not everything is just waste, horrible waste. Don't stick it into the ground. Do something with it that will also create more economy and more profit.
Exactly. We take the approach of there's no reason to utilize landfills anymore. There's no reason to incinerate. There's no reason to do all those things that are harmful to our environment, or just straight dumping. There's countless countries that just have straight dumps. They don't have any sort of linings in their landfills or anything like that. So you have all of this leachate and different chemicals and stuff that are getting into drinking water and getting into land and cause all of these huge problems that we have. And this technology is a solution to that. We feel that we are unique in what we have, and that's what really sets us apart is we take a different approach, and it's an outside the box approach, but it's simple and it's easy to understand. We take negatives and we turn them into positives.
Wow. Now you talked about water. Talk about how you create medical grade water. Where does that come from, and how does it get to be medical grade?
So we utilize the moisture that is in feedstocks. For instance, municipal solid waste or trash. There's in some cases it's up to 50 or 60% water. So our process, we pull that water out and we run it through our patented process that is basically a distillation system. So we create a steam that is then condensed back into a liquid. Through that process, we create medical grade distilled water. So that's the highest value and the cleanest water that you can have, that is only a step away from being drinking water. All you have to do is add some minerals to it, and you have drinking water. We can also, through our system, we capture waste heat from the char that comes out the backside of the system, so that we can take and create electricity from to run our distillation system to process other sources of water as well. So we can process up to 1 million gallons a day of sourced water. So that includes, industrial water, that includes, simple contaminated water from a lake or stream or river, or just simply taking out of a well.
So literally, you could literally stick a hose in and suck it out of whether it's a contaminated lake or anything, and just put it through the Gold Seal system, and then voila, we've got medical grade water.
Exactly. We can
Wow.
also desalinate water as well.
Yeah, talk about that, because there's a lot of places that feel, and you're in Las Vegas, so I know always the big fear is that oh, they're going to run out of water because their population's so big and they just don't have enough to go around. And well, why not pump something in from the Pacific Ocean and use it that way? Talk about how you guys can actually desalinate, whether it's salt water or desalinate water, so that populations that don't have water can use it.
Yeah. This is a unique thing for us, and we feel is definitely a great selling point in the future for us. When it comes to the water, what we do is we utilize the same distillation process to desalinate the water. And what it does is it turns the salt and the other minerals within the water into a powdered or crystallized salt that is then used in various ways, of whether it be in soil enhancements, or we can utilize it as a table salt or sea salt. And we also, in comparing us to some of the desalination processes out there on the market, what sets us apart is we don't create a brine. Some of the biggest issues with creating or doing the reverse osmosis or those things, there's a couple of things that set us apart. First of all, we're self-powering. We're off the grid. So we don't have a large power need to run our system. Whereas with reverse osmosis, you have to literally build a power plant there at the plant, because it uses so much electricity to process the water. Then we have the brine. The brine is what happens is when they do the process with reverse osmosis, there's only a certain percentage of the water that they get out that is usable water. The rest is this thick, heavy salinity brine that in most cases they just run a pipeline back out in the ocean and dump it. The problem is that density level of that high salinity water is heavier than what the ocean water is. So it drops down to the bottom of the ocean, and it kills the wildlife from the bottom up. And we know how, from watching, the National Geographic or Planet Earth or those things, that our ocean's ecosystem is a bottom up, process and circle of life. And that, so once you disrupt that, you're disrupting the whole food chain.
Wow. So not only you're not using energy, you're giving back energy, and then you're also taking out salt water, but you're not creating problems for the plant life on the bottom of the ocean as well. Wow. Okay. That's the simple part of it. We are talking to Evan Kirkendall. He's the COO of Gold Seal Industries. You can go to their site, which is energy-inc.com. So it's energy-inc.com. com. Evan, you're working with my longtime friend John O'Hurley, the actor who is also an entrepreneur, and he started the company with your dad Kim, who unfortunately we lost a short time ago. Talk about your relationship with your dad Kim and how you're prepared to fulfill Kim's dream.
Yes, Dad and John started the company about 12 years ago, and it was really my dad's vision that that drove John to want to be a part of this. My father's background is in facilities, and he worked for MGM Mirage Corporation for a few years as the president or corporate VP of Energy and Sustainability. And through that, he traveled the world looking at different technologies to help utilize and save costs for MGM. And so he came across the basic form of this technology and said, you know what, I think I can do this better. I think we can take this basic understanding of a process that's been around for hundreds of years and tweak it and bring it into the modern age and utilize the technology that's out there. And so in doing that, we've developed the system that we have now. And I've been lucky enough to be a part of it and play a role in this company. And now eventually, I've taken over my dad's side of it. And so in doing this, we've always had the plan that the succession plan that I would eventually take over this side and help run the company. Unfortunately, it didn't happen in the longer time frame that we had planned out. But in that time, we foresaw what this future was going to be, and we had this plan that we put into place that I have learned through the past 8 years of working with my father and being out on the road with our demonstration units and then setting up the facility that we have here that houses the 3-ton system that we do the demonstrations for. In that I learned all of this process and the engineering that goes behind that and worked on it day to day. And came up with these modifications that we've done together with my father, and I'm lucky enough to have been blessed with the intellectual side that he really had too. And we've developed some of the water system together, him and I, and some other things that are going to be some of the patented processes. So in all reality, this was a transition that we planned on having, but unfortunately, we had to put into place a little bit sooner than what we wanted to.
Yep, definitely was. And I know I was shocked when I heard about your dad passing. He was a great man, and I know you guys will carry on. So I feel pretty confident about that. So I feel really good about that. On our show, Undercover Jet Setter, we've done a number of videos on Gold Seal because we really think the world needs to know about this solution. And we think this could end famine, civil wars, which to me are usually started because of not enough food or resources. Talk about the other aspect of this. What I call it, this is mind blowing to me, the food creation aspect that you guys call Red Barn, which can stop hunger. Talk about that.
Yeah, Red Barn was a product that my father and John and our other partner Dan in the company is really come up with and utilized the waste to energy as the core component of it. So we take something that is already great and has a great value for itself, but we wrap this other portion around it. And what it is it's an off the grid food growing operation. It can raise livestock, and it utilizes solar energy and also utilizes our waste energy process. So what we do is it's about the same size as a sports arena. Here in Las Vegas, we have T-Mobile Arena, where the Golden Knights play, and it sits on roughly 5 acres of land, and is about 6 to 7 stories tall. The exterior part of the building is all clear glass solar panels. So that gives us the capture of electricity, and we utilize in the process, as well as the main component of creating the power and also the water purification side of things is the waste to energy system. So what we do is we have this river that, multiple rivers that run around in a circle on the outside part of the building. And what they do is we have a floating hydroponic operation that you plant a seed at the top and it floats down based upon the growth rate of the food. And so you end up, you put a seed in at the top and you have head of lettuce comes out the bottom. You can do the same thing with livestock. So for instance, you bring in some piglets and they start out at the top of the building, and when they come out, they're a fully grown hog that is ready to be processed in the basement of the building and goes out as a pork chop. And so we believe that we should be growing high quality food and do it at a high rate so the cost is dropped down. One of the things that my father and I have always believed in, coming from the state of Indiana, is where we both grew up and around agriculture our whole entire lives and livestock and those things. And we've had the pleasure of growing our own food and experiencing that and seeing, what high quality, good food tastes like. And it doesn't have to break the bank. And so we feel that should be offered to everybody. And it doesn't have to be GMOs, and it doesn't have to be, sprayed with overabundant amount of insecticide or anything like that. And so that's what really inspired us. We used to joke around that, my dad and I here in Las Vegas couldn't get a good quality Indiana style tomato. And that was really what we sat there and we were like, hey, how do we duplicate, that and do it everywhere so we could have it year round and all the time. And so those are those things that we sat and looked at, and you say, okay, there's a lot of science that goes into it. So, your water that has certain pH levels and those kind of things, that's what gives those good tomatoes that acidity value and the taste, the good taste that everybody looks for. And so we translated that to some fruits and vegetables, and you can do it with the livestock. And the beauty of the livestock side is it's like a hotel for the animal. So the pens are smaller based upon the size of the animal, but as they travel down the building, their growth rate, the pins get bigger and bigger. And we believe in the saying that a happy animal is a productive animal. So we don't keep them pinned into tight pins. We let them roam around. We feed them the high quality food. We even pipe in music to help relax them, because it's been proven through scientific studies that if an animal is under stress, they release different hormones and different chemicals in the body that actually breaks down the muscle structure and the different things, that in the animal that doesn't lead to a high quality meat. So those are the things that we've thought about and integrated into this process. And and the beauty of it is it could be grown anywhere in the world. And because we don't have to have the connection to the grid or that infrastructure in place, we can do it all ourselves. It allows that opportunity to provide high quality food in the middle of an urban area or out in the country, to wherever the sources that we're providing the food for, and it can be tailored to each region of the country or the world to grow the different products that they prefer. So that's the beauty of that system, and I think it's going to be a big thing for us as well.
Well, I think it's also going to be really needed because, for instance, you were just talking about, really any place, anywhere, anytime. I'm thinking of the places in Central America that the refugees are now streaming into the United States. If you could find to put one down there, they don't have to leave. I mean, they're going to have what they need there, because what they need there is they need food, they need safety, and they need an abundance of things. At the same time, too, I'm thinking of people who are up in Canada, in the middle of winter. Wow, you can actually get fresh vegetables in the middle of winter now, as opposed to, waiting or having to export them, waiting for summer or waiting to export them. Talk to me about when you were talking about like the vegetables as opposed to, let's say, the piglets, the pork chops. What's the time frame on those? Obviously, they're different. What would the time frame be on, on a normal, whether it's tomato or celery or something like that? How long would something like that take?
So through our process, you get an accelerated growth rate because you're providing the perfect environment for the vegetable or fruit to grow in. So a head of lettuce, it'll take a 30-day growth cycle to grow compared to a 50-day or even 60-day in some cases. So we accelerate the life, the growth span of it, and then we also have the ability to choose the different types of lettuces or strawberries or those kind of things, and we don't have to grow it to transport. That's one of the things. There's a lot of tomato operations in Indiana of growing and things, and the unfortunate thing is they grow this particular form of tomato that has a very thick skin, and they harvest it a little bit early, a little prematurely, because it has to stand up to being transported across the country. The beauty of this is we can pick the more finer tomatoes that are a little bit more delicate and have a better flavor and aren't watery and provide those locally at a cheaper rate than what it would cost to mass grow these other ones and transport them across the country. When you're in the winter and you see this in the Midwest and like you said, up in Canada and those places, you don't have access to strawberries during the winter time. You don't have access to those seasonal vegetables that everybody likes so much. This allows you to grow those all year round and at a high quality. And that's the beauty of this.
Imagine having that great summer meal with corn on the cob and tomatoes all winter long. It would be perfect. We are talking to Evan Kirkendall. He's the COO of Gold Seal Industries. To learn more about this world-changing technology, go to their site. It is energy-inc, energy-inc.com. Evan, one of the things that I always talk about is that this is really disruptive, and this is going to cause problems for a lot of different industries, whether it be the waste industry, whether it be the food industry, whether it be the industry that feeds different industries their raw materials, and it's going to cause some disruption. What do you tell people? Who should they talk to? Who should they get the word out to? Are there people that the folks who are listening to us that they can talk to just try to get the word out and why this is so important?
Yeah, there's always multiple different directions you can go. First of all, we always help people understand and educate themselves on not only where their waste goes. The one of the biggest things is the biggest issues is when we put our trash in our trash can and we'll walk back inside from the alleyway, people don't think about that, where it goes then. And so the big thing is understanding where your waste goes and understanding if the recycling process that you're contributing to is actually doing that, or does it just get diverted to a landfill and it ends up in the same place? So that's the first thing we say is understand where your waste goes. And then there's other options of dealing and talking to state and local officials and calling up your congressman or your senator or those approaches. But we also just say, hey, when we really put this out there and really get it on the map, we believe that society in general and the people in general are gonna do that footwork for us, because we're going to show them what we truly have and the future, and everybody's going to demand this. We're not going to allow these big companies to put all this amount of waste and everything into landfills anymore. That's going to be something of the past. And we're not going to allow, people to continue to pollute water and all those things. And so we believe that, we just are giving the ammo to society in general to really push this and move it in the right direction. Now, we're not going to be the only one that is at the forefront of this. There's multiple companies out there that are helping push our industry in general. I believe there's a place for wind power. I believe there's a place for solar power, and we fit into that whole portfolio of pushing us, as a society into the next generation. John likes to say that handling our waste has been something that technology hasn't really caught up to. And we believe that we help take that step and move that forward, and I'm happy to be a part of that and to help contribute, because my dad's vision and my vision is to help change the world and clean it up and make sure that we're providing being good stewards of the land, and that was the one thing that we were taught so much growing up in Indiana is you have to be a good steward of the world you live in, because this is the only thing we have, so we have to treat it the right way, and we have to do the things to offset what we can and our impact on the environment, whether it be eliminating landfills or utilizing this technology to clean up the plastics in the ocean. And those things, and it eventually we'll get there, and I think we're close, and I think the next 5 or 10 years is going to be a big leap forward for society and how we handle our waste.
You mentioned there, and let me just ask you this last question. Are you having fun with this? I mean, because what I get from you and John, what I got from your dad was, this is not only inspiring, but it's also fun, and you guys are just really enjoying this. Talk about that.
Yeah, that's it's for my father and I. Growing up, I was always encouraged by my father to think outside the box and to do things and build things that I want to build and think about things in a different way. And whether it be, taking apart a lawnmower or putting together a computer or whatever, it was understanding how things work. And he taught me, to really enjoy learning and designing things and building things. And that was one of the things that connected us together and that we enjoyed doing. So when he started this company and asked me if I wanted to be a part of it, I jumped at it and was like, hey, we got to do something that we enjoy doing together. And it's a challenge every day. We used to sit around the office, and some of our favorite things to do was just sit there and you go out to the whiteboard and you say, hey, I got a stupid idea. What if we did this? And you draw it on the whiteboard and you process, you mull it over, and you tweak it, and then you say, you know what? Let's go in the shop and let's build it. let's give it a shot and see if it works.
Wow.
In some cases it was, how do we figure out a shredding technology, something that might work better. And that leads to go buying a couple of electric lawnmowers at Lowe's and bolting them together just to see what it does, and understand the process behind those things. And so it's always been one of those things that, not only was my dad was first of all an unbelievable father and always pushed me to do the best and utilize my brain and work smarter and not harder, but my dad was one of my best friends, and so getting to work with him on a daily basis was something that can never you can never put a value on it. And then to also be able to be a business partner with him and push this technology that we were both so passionate about, and John's passionate about. And to be able to do these things, it is something that I would never, ever, ever give up. And so when Dad passed away, it was John and I sat down and said, we not only have to keep this going because it's the right thing to do, because we have a great piece of technology, multiple pieces of technology that are something that the world needs and we need to utilize. But now also it's to set a legacy for my father, and that's created even more of a passion for me and a main reason to get this done, because everybody needs to understand where this vision came from. That it wasn't just me, it wasn't just John, it was the true genius behind it was my father, and I believe that he was a unique mind, and anybody that had the pleasure of talking to him about this or picking his brain about it understood right off the bat that he was a different kind of person and a different kind of thinker. And I'm lucky enough to have learned from him and been groomed by him to continue this. And he left me with the tools to make this successful and continue on.
Well said, my friend. We are talking to Evan Kuykendall. He is the COO of Gold Seal Industries. To learn more about this world-changing technology, all you have to do is go to their site, which is energy-inc.com. Evan, thank you so much. I know we're going to be talking a lot more because I know there's probably going to be some pretty big announcements coming up, but I appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, John. It's a pleasure.
And folks, thanks for tuning in. Please share this podcast with anyone you know who has the power and resources to do something. Also, keep watching for more information on Gold Seal and videos that we have on informed.inflamed.com, as well as undercoverjetsetter.com. And if you go to our YouTube channel for Undercover Jetsetter, you'll see some videos where you'll see Kim, Evan's dad that we were just talking about. You'll see some videos with him there as well. So again, thank you so much, and we will catch you next time.
For more on John Daly, go to informednotinflamed.com.